Good morning. Happy Sunday. Who else's toddler is up at 5:30? Yay! Bye. Today we're talking about hydration. We all know that we should be drinking water, but I'm not sure that we always know why. It's one of those things that we think that we should just be doing, which kind of makes it harder to do throughout the day. And I was asked why we get up in the morning and drink water. And for me, it's twofold. One, our bodies are dehydrating so significantly throughout the night, through our skin, through our breath, that I kind of imagine like a plant that's slowly dying overnight. And in the morning, the first thing you want to do is just spring it open, rehydrate it, get it off to the right start. And that's one reason. The other reason is habit change. Drinking water is one of the easiest things we can do in our rituals to get our day off to a good start. So even if we're sad, depressed, anxious, busy, whatever it is, that small incremental change of drinking water is something you can always fall back on, even when you're not doing well with your other habits. So I use the Fabulous app for my habit tracker, and the first thing it prioritizes is drinking water in the morning. And I just think that's really great. It's always going to be there, and it's one out of the two healthiest things for you, right? Sleep and hydration. So we know that it basically helps every part of our body function. Anything that's wet, even our bones are wet, 20% water, right? Our eyes, our skin, everything. But I wonder if there's some things that we don't always think about. Sleep, being hydrated helps our quality of sleep. Also, energy and focus. So if you're feeling sleepy throughout the day, it could be so many things. Obviously, we have to fix everything in our lives, but if you're feeling sleepy throughout the day and you haven't been drinking water, dehydration could be a major cause. Another one is weight loss. There was a study done with women trying to lose weight, and one group drank 1.5 liters a day of water and the other did not, and they lost 44% more weight. And I think that's twofold. Satiety, it just makes you feel fuller, and the other thing is metabolism. And when you drink that water matters. So I think in that study they drank their water a half an hour before meals, and that's good because it just lets it sit in your stomach. It lets gives your body time to think that it's full. Let's see. Another thing is brain function. So there was a British study done on students, and half the students taking the test brought water to the test and the other half did not. And the half that brought water to the test did significantly better. The funny thing about that study is they did not track to see if the students actually drank their water or the reasons why. But I think that it's still there. Our brain needs water to function, and we know that. So we can just kind of assume that you need to be hydrated in order to be thinking well. Our mood. So there was separate studies between men and women, and dehydration affects the genders a little bit differently, but it's basically the same. You're going to be more anxious, more depressed, more irritable if you're dehydrated. So those are the main reasons why water is good for you. It's essential for life, but it's a good reminder. So we can just remind ourselves that it's important. The other thing is, what are you drinking your water in? We've probably all heard that plastics are not great to be drinking your water in. Glass, I think, is always the best way to go right now based on current research. You can get plastic that's BPA free, but bisphenols are everywhere, and they're more than just BPA, BPF, BPS, and they're floating around. And I think there's also probably a lot of science that we don't know yet about consuming water out of plastics. I know there's been Association studies with higher incidence of ADHD when you drink out of plastic. So it's probably just a good idea to avoid it. This one, the Just Water brand, is paper. I'm not sure if it's really that much better than plastic. It's probably a good idea just to do it in glass, but it's bottled in Glens Falls up where I'm from, so that's why I like it. The other thing is that plastics have a lot of phytoestrogens, and there's a lot of issues right now with estrogen dominance, high estrogen levels in men, and we can get into why that's bad for you, but that's a whole nother topic. So it's best just to avoid and try and drink our water out of glass. Also, what kind of water are we drinking? Depends where you live, right? With the quality of your tap water. But my good friend Jess, who's a nutritionist, Green Juice and Vodka on Instagram, she had a client that was drinking a gallon of water a day and still presenting signs of dehydration, and they couldn't figure out why. And eventually they figured out that she was drinking distilled water. So if you're drinking distilled water, it might be good if you're in a sort of a dangerous area where the water is really dirty. But when you're drinking distilled water, it's also taking out all the good stuff, all the electrolytes and all the minerals that you need to keep your cells functioning and your intracellular hydration. So in my opinion, it's best to avoid. It's better just to drink regular water. It is argued that you could supplement then with the minerals and electrolytes that you need, but I really don't like taking something away naturally just to introduce it synthetically. I think it's better just to get things in the whole in its entirety and kind of the way it was meant to be consumed. So regular bottled water, tap water. I know those big containers of bottled water are still technically bottled in plastic, but I just feel like less surface area of the water is touching the plastic, so I'm more okay with that. Mineral water, things like that. We get our minerals from other places. Make sure you're eating a good balance of fruits, vegetables, fiber. Can kind of keep that intracellular, extracellular hydration in check. But that's a good thing to think about. Maybe not be drinking distilled water all day and eating refined carbs. You'll probably get really dehydrated. So now that we all know why we should be drinking water, how we should be drinking water, what's some actionable steps so we can actually do it throughout the day. I like James Clear's principles from Atomic Habits. Make it obvious, make it attractive, easy, and satisfying. I have notes. So how do we make it obvious? I put water out at night before bed so that it's the first thing I see in the morning. Obviously, you can carry your water bottle around all day. Some people put bottles of water where they think that they're going to be drinking it. I think that's a little crazy, but that's another way to make it obvious. Make it attractive. We're social beings, so if you have a group of health-oriented people that are drinking water, me and my friends like to send pictures of our water by our bed before we go to sleep. That's another way to make it attractive. I think having like a really cool water bottle maybe that you buy that you like drinking it out of, that's another way. Another method that James Clear uses is habit stacking with something you need to do with something you want to do. So some of us, I know, really don't like drinking water. I don't have a problem with it, so it's not a big deal for me. But I do have to drink my water before I'm allowed to drink my coffee in the morning. So that's like a way that we can kind of habit stack with something that we want to do. and maybe, you want to do your makeup in the morning, so you have to drink your water while you do your makeup, something like that. Make it easy. It's not really that important with drinking water, I'll be honest. This is more for like working out, doing 1 push-up a day before you do a 3-hour training session. But if drinking water is hard for you, it's more important to do some than none. So even if it's just 1 bottle of water a day until you get into the habit. And satisfying. A big way that James Clear likes to make everything satisfying is habit tracking. So whether you have an electronic habit tracker or a grid habit tracker, and you just get to check off every day, yes, I drink water. You get to tell your friends, yes, I drink water. I like to post things in my story on Instagram because it's satisfying for me that I get to say, yes, I did this. Another way to make it satisfying. So I hope that helps you. Let me know how my new awesome microphone sounds. Cody just kicked the stand. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.